Hi there, my name's Sophie. I'm one of the psychologists for More Life, and I wanted to share some advice with you around coping with some of the emotional challenges that might come up over the next few weeks. Whilst we adjust to this situation, we might have our emotions come out in different ways. This might be denial, as in pretending that nothing's happened and carrying on as usual, anger, which might come out at your nearest and dearest or at the general public for not following social distancing rules, or anxiety and depression. Remember, everyone copes with these things differently. For example, introverts might be adjusting really well as they're used to their own company and are stimulated by their own thoughts and feelings. Extroverts might be having a harder time because they're stimulated by social interactions and a changing environment and might not be used to spending so much time on their own. So remember to check in on your friends, even those who usually cope with stress really well. The British Psychological Society have quickly pulled together some research into how people cope with social isolation, and I've pulled together some of this advice based on the findings. So the first thing is about adapting to a new situation. The quicker you adapt, the better you'll thrive. So people cope in different ways when faced with large-scale change. Some of you might be in denial and trying to go on as normal, but in this current situation, we need to accept the new normal as quickly as possible so we can support the NHS to get on top of things. Establishing a new routine is one of the best ways of adapting to a new set of circumstances. So get out a weekly planner and make a plan. If you normally see your parents, say on a Wednesday night, get a Skype call in. If you usually exercise on certain days of the week, you can still do it over YouTube. Try to get up and go to bed at similar times each day. It's very easy to start going to bed later and later and getting up later and later, but that can just cause less adaptation and make you feel a bit sluggish. Another issue that you might have to deal with is managing anxiety and uncertainty. You might well be feeling anxious about the current situation, which is completely normal. We've never lived through anything like this before, and it can feel really unsettling. Try and think rationally about the actual threat. The actual threat of the virus is fairly low at an individual level. We just need to do whatever we can to protect ourselves and others. Avoid reading information from unreliable sources who may exaggerate the dangers and cause more anxiety. There are lots of conspiracy theories going on at the moment, but they're not true and not real, so just avoid them. Try to focus on the present and not the end point. This situation will end, but we don't know when or how just now. Try to focus on daily and weekly tasks rather than dwelling on the long term. Mindfulness is a great way of staying in the present, and there are some really good apps that can help you. Headspace and Calm are my favourites, and they've got some really great free meditations that you can try before committing to buying some longer ones. If you're struggling to manage your anxiety, get help. The local IAPT and mental health services are still running, so look up your local one if you need it. They might be in a bit more demand at the moment, so you might have a little wait. If you need help more quickly and you can pay for telephone or online counselling, ensure you use a qualified individual. BetterHelp is a good service that use appropriately trained practitioners, or look at the British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy, BACP, website for a list of registered therapists. Try to avoid negative coping strategies. There is a lot of social media at the moment around using alcohol to cope with social distancing. And whilst drinking in moderation is okay, alcohol actually increases stress and anxiety the day after we drink, so it is really not recommended as a way of dealing with emotions. And contrary to a lot of memes I've seen, it will not kill the virus. It actually lowers immunity, which is not what we want at the moment. Try to focus on the positives. The current situation is bringing out the best in a lot of people. Look at how communities are pulling together to help our most vulnerable and how the pandemic is showing us what is really important in life. A lack of motivation can be a real challenge at the moment as well. It can go out the window when there's so much going on in the world. Tasks can either feel too big or insignificant, or we might have the sense that there is so much time ahead of us to do all that we need to do, we can put it off indefinitely. One tip would be to make a list of easy tasks that you would like to complete over the coming weeks. These tasks should be really easy and quick and not feel like a big deal. Have this list handy, and when you're feeling particularly lethargic, whip it out and do just one task. This can stimulate a sense of achievement, and you can then feel that you might be able to go on to do bigger, more challenging projects. Journaling can also be a good tool to help create a sense of purpose. Write about how you're feeling and acknowledge all that you have achieved each day. Don't beat yourself up if you haven't done all you set out to do, but reflect on why that might be and plan how you are going to overcome these barriers moving forwards. One other difficulty that you might be facing is living in close proximity to others. While social distancing itself can feel lonely, paradoxically, if we're at home with our family members or flatmates, being with them all day, every day can feel suffocating. This can lead to tension, arguments and conflict. There are some things you can do to ease this. Establish some ground rules. Little annoyances like not washing up can be magnified in this situation. So get together to make some guidelines you all stick to in order to avoid unnecessary arguments. Make some space for yourself. Have a room that you can go into and be alone at certain points during the day. This is really important as we all need some time alone to just manage our situation and have a think about things and calm down. Practice tolerance. It's really easy to start picking at people when we're around them all the time. Every little niggle can feel like we need to point it out, but criticising over and over again just causes unnecessary tension. Before picking at someone's fault, take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said right now? And does this need to be said by me? We are not good at communicating effectively when we are angry, so step back and wait until you've calmed down. And then if you do feel like you need to say something, have an honest and relaxed conversation about your frustrations, which will be much more effective. Overall, it's important to remember that it is okay to feel anxious and confused at the moment. If you're feeling emotionally drained, speak to someone. We shouldn't pretend that we're all taking this in our stride. It is a completely new situation for all of us. Share any tips for coping with your friends and family and ask them to do the same. And remember, More Life are still here to help. We've tried to adapt as quickly as possible, and you can still arrange appointments with your practitioners over the phone or via Skype. We've set up some Zoom and Facebook Live groups as well, and we've built this online content to try and help support you. While we are adjusting, please stick with us and please be assured that we're working really, really hard to do all we can to support you. We'd really appreciate your feedback as well, because this is brand new to us. So if you've got any feedback, please get in touch and we'll do all we can to listen. So look after yourselves, your family and your mental health, and we'll see you again soon.